there, and welcome to Stamping Fun with Donna. I'm Donna, and today I'm going to be bringing you a project. Now, my creative friends and I have gotten together to do the Butterfly Inspirations Blog Hub. The third Tuesday of every month, we are going to bring you some new inspirations. Today's inspiration comes from the May to August 2026 catalog, and it comes from page 13 of that catalog. Did you notice that at the bottom of the page, there are some templates? There's tags, there's scrapbook pages, and there are also some cards. So today we are going to be using this card template from page 13 of the May to August 2026 Stampin' Up! Catalog, and we're all gonna do different takes on it. Now, my take, you can notice, is different starting right away because they did a portrait card here, and I'm doing a horizontal card, a landscape variation on that card. The reason is because I wanted to bring these adorable animals in. Now, the Cutest Crew really is the cutest crew. These animals are so cute, and you can do so much with them. I love them so much. So you can see there are birds, there are dogs, there are cats, there's paw prints and bird prints and butterflies, flower, and then some really great sayings. I actually really love these stamps. I've used this one quite a bit, and I've used this one quite a bit. And the reason I like this one so much, actually I guess this one as well, they're both script on top and then print below, and it just creates a little bit more interest than just having one or the other. It comes with a set of dies if you get the bundle. It cuts out all of the dogs and all of the cats together and all of the birds together, but there's also individual animals that you can cut out as well. So we're going to be using that today in order to make this card, which I just think anybody would put a smile on anybody's face to get that as a birthday card. So let me stick that on the side so that you can still see it, but we're going to go ahead and get started. So first, we obviously need a card front. So here is a regular A2 card front, which is just a piece of paper cut in half horizontally and then folded, and we have that to start with. We also need a piece of plaid, which I've pre-cut here, and this is cut to just 1/4 inch smaller than the card front, so it's going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. We're gonna, oftentimes I leave them landscape, but that's a little bit off. I'm just gonna refold just a sec. But today we're going to be using it as a, oftentimes I use it as portrait, but today we're going to be using it landscape, and this is going to fit right on there. Now, I kind of thought it might be interesting to experiment with that piece. And instead of the third layer being white, the third in from the bottom, from the outside, that we would try it with Pool Party. So I'm going to cut this Pool Party and see how we feel about it. And we can always go back to white. But I thought it might be a little bit more interesting to put the Pool Party there. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna cut this piece to 4 1/4 by 3 1/2. So let me cut that to 4 1/4. There we go. Cut right up there, and then by 3 1/2. I think I just turned it, yeah, 3 1/2. Right here. And we will cut that one there. And now this is the same size as that white piece there. We also need the little piece that we're gonna have for the happy birthday. And that piece is going to be, let's see here. That piece is going to be 1 1/2 by 1 inches. So I will just put this here, cut it at 1 inch, and then, there we go. And then cut it the other direction at 1 1/2. And that's what we're gonna put our sentiment on. Beautiful. Okay, the only things we have left to do now are these strips. Now, if you remember when I showed you the catalog, they have 5 strips here in a horizontal, in a portrait dimension. In order to see it the other way, all you have to do is turn the page. And you can see how they have it set up here. So there's 4 strips like that, and then a different one for the sentiment or for whatever you want there. So we're gonna go ahead here and start our stamping. I'm going to bring in the other half of the white paper we had. There we go. And I'm going to grab the dogs. So I have a couple of different stamps here. I see I took the stamps out of the package. Let me see where I put them, right here. You know, if you watch me, you're gonna see that every single episode, I'm gonna say, where did I put that? It's just the way I am about everything. I think I'd stamp twice as fast if I weren't constantly looking for things. The best way to do something like this, where it's very long, is to turn it over and then use your block to pick it up so that you know it's not off kilter in any way. Now I'm going to go ahead and take basic gray. Did you know you don't have to always stamp in black? I actually love the fact that it's a little bit softer here using the basic gray. So that's what we're going to stamp the animals in. Let me go ahead and get the dogs all inked up. Beautiful. And stamp it right here. And just let it soak in for just a few seconds. That's all you need. And that's beautiful. Now I'm going to go ahead and just wipe that off quickly because I want to pull it off so I can use the kitties as well. So let me bring this here, just using the Stampin' Chamois, which I think is just unbelievably incredible. You just pull it out and it's just, it can do any cleanup job for the stamping. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing with the cats. We're going to go ahead and put that on there, stick it on the block, go ahead and ink up the kitties, make sure they're beautifully inked up. I think that's going to work. We're going to go ahead and stamp the kitties here. I didn't want to move it. You never want to move your stamps. You just want to sit there and soak in. But it came out great. Stamps are a little bit forgiving, and so that's wonderful. I'm just going to quickly wipe that off again so it doesn't stay on too long and put that to the side. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is we still have to stamp the other two parts here. So we have the, which one is this? This is the butterflies and the paw prints. Okay, so the paw prints and the butterflies are going to go on another piece of white. So we'll use the other end of this. And those are the same size. They're going to be 3/4 of an inch by 2 1/4 inches. There's a little bit of stuff on the side, but you can always turn it over. So we'll just turn it over. 2 sides to every piece of paper. Let me cut a 3/4 inch strip right down the side. And then I'm going to cut this one at 2 1/4. Right here. And another one at 2 1/4 right here. So now we have the 2 strips for the butterflies and for the paw prints. You'll notice that what I did is I colored in the dogs and the cats. I did not color in the butterflies because I like the black and white on the sides. Of course, that's personal preference. And if you want to color in the butterflies, you go ahead and do you, because this is your card and you're making it. So you get to decide how it's going to be. Okay, so I'm going to take this one. This is the butterflies. And I'm going to ink it up in the same basic gray. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to stamp them. Now I'm going to stamp them not exactly the same way each time. So I want them to be a swarm of butterflies, but I don't want them to look like they're all going in the same direction. So I'm going to get 3 in here, I think. Yep. And I turned the stamp block every time I did that to make them look a little bit different. Now I'm going to set that one aside and go ahead and wipe off this, because we're going to this stamp and block, because we're going to use the same stamp block to do the paw prints. Just peel that off, put the paw prints in, bring in the other piece of paper, that's the good side, and I'm going to ink up these paw prints in the same basic gray. I'm going to start just slightly off and stamp these in the middle in a row. The reason I like to stamp slightly off is I think it looks more organic and more real for it to go off both edges. So there we go, and we'll get it off that edge. And then here we have our paw prints, which look really cute too. And let me go ahead and just wipe this off for just a second. I don't like to leave these for too long, particularly when I'm going to be using them right again, because I know I will end up putting my fingers in them inadvertently. So let me go ahead and put the stamp pad aside for just a second. And now what we're going to do here is stamp the happy birthday on this piece that we cut for it. And for the happy birthday, I chose to use the Coastal Cabana. Now, if you're not sure what color to use, the best place to start is to look at the paper package and to see what Stampin' Up! Says goes with it or is in it, because that's going to, that's going to go with it, because that's what the Stampin' Up! Artists have made in the set and in their pictures. Let me go ahead and ink up the happy birthday, stamp it right in the middle. Again, just let it soak in for a few seconds is all you need to do. And now I'm going to set that aside, and I think that's all of our stamping. So we have all the pieces we're going to need to do all the stamping. The next thing we're going to do is to color in the dogs and the cats. You can, if you prefer, to cut them out first, but I think it's easier if you color them in while they're still on a piece of paper all together. So I'm going to bring in, I just pulled out a lot of different Stampin' Blends. Again, what I did is I looked at the paper pack to see what went with it, and then I took that, didn't stick with it exactly, but I used it to figure out which colors I was going to want. I did use this purple for his tongue. This is Dark Berry Burst, but I thought it was too dark. So I'm going to go ahead and set that one aside. Now, when I'm trying to figure out what to do, what I like to do is to swatch my colors. So you can see here, when I did the last one, I took the excess from where I cut out the animals, and I just put the colors down. And then I used it to do this to figure out what I wanted to use for our project before I colored these in. You can color these in, obviously, any way you want. I kind of thought that was pretty cute. I think this one's a little darker than I meant it to be, and I see now I never even colored in his handkerchief. We can't have that. Let me just quickly add a little color to his handkerchief. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do here is to use the light brown and the next up brown. Now, when I got my browns, they had different names than they do now. It's the same coloring scheme, but when they first came out with them, they just had numbers. They didn't have names. So I don't have the exact name for you that I'm using, but it's in those brown packages that they have. I think it's like medium dark and dark or something like that. I'm going to need to get a new set so I can figure out how these go together, because I actually don't know. So I did the face and the body in the same color. I'm going to come in using the brush end. Come in here and use the bullet end to do the ears and go over the tail. There we go. I think he's so adorable. And now he needs to have his little tag colored in. I used a darker color there. I used the Pretty Peacock, and I thought it didn't stand out enough. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use the Granny Apple Green, right? Light Granny Apple Green. And hope that it stands out just, I'm going to use the other end. Hope that it stands out just a little bit better. Let's see. Yeah, that's a little bit better. And now next we're going to be doing this guy here. And I'm not going to use as dark as I did the last time. Let me just swipe this just for a second. Yeah, that's a better, that's the one I used for the middle guy. So we'll go ahead and do the middle guy first. There we go. And for this one, I just made him one tone as opposed to two. If you want to make them one tone, that's great. If you want to make them two tones, that's great too. I'm going to go ahead and switch again to the bullet end because I just think that I don't have quite enough control for the smaller areas. And I want to have a little bit more control so that I can get it exactly where I want it. There we go. Okay, so there's his tongue that I felt like it was too dark with the dark berry burst. I'm just going to swipe it one more time. I think it's a little bit light, but I think we can get away with it if I just do just a little bit here. Perfect, just gives you the idea of a tongue. Okay, and now we're going to do the last guy. And I think for the last guy, I'm going to use the darker color I had here as the main color. So I'm gonna get his legs and lower body. And this time I'm using the bullet tip because again, I want to have a little more control. And the ears, there we go. And now his face. And I guess I'll do it in the same color so he doesn't look like the same colors as the guy on the left or as the dog on the left. There we go. Okay, we're almost done with the coloring. What I forgot to tell you is you may have noticed here I only have 3 across the top because this fits best with 3, not with 4. So I cut the last one out, which we will do after we cut them out. And the same thing here, I only have to go ahead and color 3 of them. But I have a surprise for you. So I'm going to go ahead and color the last little dog. Let's color him with this because we're going to do something special with him at the end. You're going to have to stay tuned to see what we do with him at the end and watch it all the way through the end because there's something special we do with him. Okay, so I will get him all colored in with this brown, and now I'm going to do his ears in the darkest brown that I've been using. I like to have different colored ears. I think it's so cute on dogs, and sometimes even tails. So we'll go ahead and make his tail a little darker too. There we go. Now here I left a little bit of white. I often leave white on purpose because I think it looks good. It looks more natural if you leave a little bit of white. I filled in just a little bit because you want to be intentional about where you leave your light, where you leave your white parts sticking through. Now we have to do his handkerchief. So let's do his handkerchief in the same granny apple green, light granny apple green that we did for his license tag. And there we go. And then on this guy, let's go ahead and use the yellow I've pulled out, which is light lemon lolly. And we'll put his handkerchief in light lemon lolly. Great. And we just need to give his tag a little bit of color. And I'm going to try again with this, with the dark berry burst, right where his tag is. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and quickly do the flowers. I did all the flowers the same, yellow and granny apple green, the light lolly and the granny apple green. You can do whatever you want, obviously. I do think it's better to use the bullet end because those are smaller. You'll notice we're not doing a ton of blending today, and that's because these areas are not really big enough. They don't really need the blending, but because of that, I did a little bit of the 2 tones. I like to go over the stem of the flowers just very quickly. There we go. So we've got the dogs done. Now we'll go ahead and color in the cats. And for the cats, I was using the gray for the cats. And I see I left some of the blends I was going to use aside. So here, we had more that I pulled out. So let me go ahead and pull out the 2 grays because I think these came out really well. Let me put that back together and pull out the top. Well, look at that. This is an old one, and for some reason the whole thing is popping off instead of just the end. So what we will do is use the other end right now. I'm going to make this, again, I'm going to use 3. This is the one I'm going to leave off right here. So I'm going to color him up with the light, what is this, smoky slate, light smoky slate blending pen, and just color this kitty cat up with it. There we go. And now the next one, I'm going to color in the browns that we used for the dog. So let's see, these were the 3 browns we used for the dog. The dog up here is in this reddish color. I don't want it to repeat, so I'm going to use the other 2 on the bottom. And let me see if I'll use the brush tip and just color this one all in. This is the darker of the 2 browns from the dogs up top. The dog on the left up top. Color in his tail and his arms. And now we've got a brown cat. And now we're going to go over and we used the light smoky slate, so we're now going to use the dark smoky slate. I think we used the light smoky slate. Yeah. This is the dark smoky slate. And we're going to just color him up. You can see it doesn't take long. Not spending a ton of time. First of all, it's going to be cut out with a die. So you don't have to worry about too much about going over the edges. And second of all, we're not blending. So it's really quick to color these in. And that's it. We ended up with, we had 5 kitty cats there. I didn't even remember that. So we're going to go ahead and now do the butterflies. So the butterflies I thought were really cute in the pool party because the pool party is what we have in the background in this plaid. So do one there and then a yellow one on the other side. I'll use the dark lemon lolly for this one. And then what I did here is I just used the light pool party to just go around their flight paths. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so I think that's done. Let's go ahead and set the inks and the pens aside and pull in. I'm going to set this aside as well, the paper that I've already cut and the card I've already done. And we're going to bring in our Stampin' Cut and emboss machine. There we go. So, as I always say, you don't have to be able to read to use this. You don't even have to remember anything. You don't have to read. You just follow what it says here. And for die cutting, you want a plate 1, which is labeled 1, the plate 2, and then 2 plate 3s. So we'll go ahead and put the plate 2 in there. Put that one there. And let me grab the kitty cat outline, which I think is this one. I had them put aside, but before I had them put aside, I knew which was which, and then I put them aside. Now I'm like, which was which again? There we go. Okay, is that right? It'll just take a sec. Or is it over here? That's the doggies. So we'll use the other one, and this one, as you can see, cuts out 5. And I'm just going to go ahead and place this. Now, that's the cutting side, so that has to go down. That has to go down, not up. So there we go. It's going to cut out those kitties. And I can do the dogs at the same time. So let me put the dogs in here, just like that. Great. And I'm going to run it all through in one pass. Now, let me get that just a little bit straighter. There we go. Okay, so we just need to put the other plate 2 on top, and I moved the kitties. I actually should have some tape over here to just tack it down just a little bit, but that should be fine. Nope. I think it's easier if I only do one at a time. So, but let me see if I can do this one more time. All right, there we go. Yeah, so I'm only going to be able to do one at a time because it's not long enough to do them both. So I'm going to send it through in 2 passes. So we'll do the first one here, because in order for it to cut, it needs to be the exact sandwich. And any part that goes out of the sandwich, like the dogs were hanging off the end there, they would not cut. There needs to be exactly the right kind of sandwich in order for it to cut properly. And then you can see there's the kitty cats. They're very, very cute. I'm going to cut off the ends. And now we'll go ahead and run through the dogs. And put the dogs on here and grab the dog die and put it right on top, right where I want it to cut. So there we go. Okay, so there's, you can get the dogs, you can get the flowers. It's just really an adorable, adorable set. Let me run this through very quickly, and then we'll get on with getting it all set and together. So here are the dogs that we have here. Okay, now what I'm going to use is I'm going to use some scissors to cut off the parts I don't want. So let me bring in my scissors here. Let's see. And where did I put? Here we go. Here are my paper snips. So I'm going to bring those paper snips in, and I'm going to just take them out. Now I don't have the new ones we have yet, but I'm excited to try them out. And there's one dog that's going to stay behind. He's not going to go with the group. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this guy off. But as I said, I've got a special plan for him. So we just need to make sure that the paper looks right. It doesn't look too like there was a problem cutting it off. And now we're going to go ahead and cut off the two kitties on the end that we're not using. And you just want to make sure it's not too sharp of an edge. You just want it to blend right in. Nobody's going to know that there were other kitties there if you do it that way. And then we're going to go ahead and blend it over here and set the kitties aside. So I think we have all of our pieces now. So all we need to do is to put it together. Now I am going to check this out before we glue it on, because I do want to see if I like it with the blue background instead of the white background. So we'll put the kitties like this. I'm going to show you what these are in just a second. And let's bring in the one with the white background to see which we prefer. Okay, I do like it on the blue. So we'll go ahead and do it on the blue. Now, before I put these on, what I like to do oftentimes is to create a little space between the layers. And one of the ways I can create space between the layers is by darkening the edges with a sponge dauber and the ink that you're using. You can use any ink, but if you use the same ink that you're using it for the other parts, it just blends in a little better. So what I'm going to do is just get some ink on my sponge dauber and just go ahead and just sponge around this edge. If you do scrapbooking, people do this a lot. I do this with my scrapbooks too. It just creates a little bit more visual separation, and it's just that much of a step up. You don't really notice it. I don't think if I didn't tell you that there was basic gray around this piece that you would have known it. So it just creates a little spatial separation without interfering with your overall design. Put that one aside, and I'm going to do the plaid piece as well. Just give it a little bit of a edge using this smoky slate, that's basic gray stamping pad and the sponge dauber, and just go right around the edges like this. There we go. That's number 2. As you can see, it doesn't take long to do it, but I do think it makes a difference in the overall feel of the piece. And now I'm going to do it with the happy birthday, which is a smaller piece, so it's very quick. And obviously I can't do it with the dogs and the cats. I guess you could do it, but it's difficult, and it's going to create that much more of a possibility of messing something up. So I just leave those alone. They're stamped in an outline anyway. The stamp outline is right inside the white line, and those are stamped in the basic gray anyway, so they have the same sort of separation feeling. And now we just have the butterflies. And as I said at the beginning, if you want to fill in the butterflies and color them in, you're more than welcome to do that as well. I kind of like the way it mixed black and white with color so that the color wasn't too overwhelming. That's why I did it that way. Okay, let's put that aside. Now, what we want to do with this piece, this is the pool party piece. And what we want to do with this is to place the animals on it. And we want to do it in such a way that they're sort of clustered together. They can be a little bit overlapping. And in fact, I overlapped quite a bit of this on purpose. So what I want to do first is to use my liquid glue and place the piece with the butterfly first. Why do I want to do that first? Because that's going to give me a good idea of where everything else is going to go. So let me go ahead and put this one, turn it over carefully, make sure it's right side up. There we go. And now I'm going to put it slightly down, not in the middle, slightly down like that. Beautiful. I seem to have smeared it just a little bit. So that's a part that's not going to be covered by anything, but we can cover it with something as we go along. Here are the paw prints. So I'm going to go ahead and actually what I think I'll do is do the dogs next. So I'll just put just a teeny bit of glue, of the liquid glue on them. And what I want with the dogs is I want them to sort of be sitting on this end, be sitting on the paw prints piece, and on the other end be slightly overlapping. So I'm going to take this and put it like on top here towards the top. Good. And then I will take the piece with the paw prints and I will place it on the other side. And like I said, I want the dog to be just slightly sitting on it. So I'm going to tuck him right underneath the dog and bring it in so that it just goes out just a little bit past the dog, and so that there's about as much space on these two ends. But you don't want them to be up and down to be the same. You want this one on the right to be further down and the one on the left to be further up. And now we just have our kitties. So we're going to go ahead and put the kitties, some green glue, some liquid glue on there, and put those along the bottom. And again, I'm going to overlap these. I wonder, no, it's too high. Overlap these so that they're playing at the bottom there. Beautiful. Okay, so now what we're going to do is to put this on the piece of designer series paper that we have prepared. It's always easier, in my opinion, if you put the glue on the smaller piece, because then you know you're not getting it in the wrong spot. Let me turn it back over so we can see the plaid. And we will go ahead and stick this right pretty much in the middle. There we go. Terrific. See, now you can see the difference between them. I think this one, it stands out a little bit more to have the blue background. They're both beautiful. You won't go wrong with either one. You could use either one that you wanted to. Now we have the happy birthday. And for the happy birthday, I wanted to use dimensionals. So let's go ahead and put the happy birthday on here. There we go. And a couple of dimensionals. And put this right in the middle. And in my opinion, it doesn't matter if this overlaps a little bit on either side. I actually think it looks good when it's all a little bit more concentrated in the middle and then overlaps on the sides. So there we go. And let's go ahead and put this onto the card base. There we go. Again with the liquid glue, which is my favorite. I like it because I feel like you have a little bit of leeway. Gives you a little bit of grace if you don't get it perfectly the first time. So let me get that there. We're just trying to make the sides be about the same whiteness around each of the edge. Oh my gosh, I really love that one. And then on the inside, what I did is I stamped "Have the best day," because it's happy birthday, have the best day, using the Coastal Cabana that I had used for the happy birthday. Let me go ahead and get that all inked up. Put that right here towards the top. Great. Let it soak in for a second. And that's what I do with the little doggy. So I took the little doggy back in. and put a little bit, the extra dog, whoops, I just dropped him. Sorry, puppy. Didn't mean to drop you off the side. He got stuck to my finger, just dropped off. Put a little bit of liquid glue on the back here, and we will go ahead and put him next to the Have the Best Day. You also have 2 kitties, so if you want to use the kitty instead, you're more than welcome to do that. But there you go. That's our card. And I have here the same thing, the Have the Best Day, but that time I used the kitty. So there you go. 2 different variations of pretty much the same thing. And I think they're really adorable. Please check out the Butterfly Inspirations blog hop and check out what my creative friends have done. So you can see their variations on the sketch on page 13 of the May to September 2026 catalog. I hope you try something like this. I hope you want to see what you can do with it. So if you would do something like this, please tag me so that I know. And also, if you could like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I'm trying really hard to grow my channel, and it would really help me out. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye.